It is a strange thing that in trying to save the world, we so often lose ourselves. And yet, when a man dares to truly return home to himself, the whole world begins to glow brighter. You see, the great paradox is this: only when you stop chasing after everything out there, do you discover that was within all along. It is extraordinary, is it not, how easily we are seduced by the glittering parade of the world. Every moment, something new waves at us, a sound, a screen, a voice calling our name. We scatter ourselves like seeds tossed into the wind, hoping that somewhere, somehow, one of these fragments will take root and give us meaning. But the strange thing is, the more we chase after the world's applause, the less we seem to hear the quiet beating of our own heart. We become like travelers in a busy marketplace, drawn by every stall, tasting every flavor, but forgetting why we set out on the journey at all. Our attention is our life. Where it flows, there we live. Yet most of us do not realize how easily we give it away. We hand it over to other people's dramas, to worries that are not our own, to dreams that were planted in us by strangers. And when at last we are alone, we find ourselves restless, unable to sit still, as if silence itself were an enemy. But what is really happening is that we have become addicted to being pulled in 1,000 directions, and so the moment the pulling stops, we feel lost. Consider how much of your day is spent in this state of distraction. A small vibration in your pocket, and suddenly the vastness of the sky above you is forgotten. A passing thought of what you should have said or should have done, and you are carried backward into a memory that no longer exists. A brief worry about tomorrow, and you are hurled forward into an imagined future that is no more solid than a dream. Back and forth, tossed like a leaf in the current, yet almost never resting in the present, which is the only place you have ever truly been. And so, you become a ghost in your own story. The body moves, the mouth speaks, but the spirit is elsewhere. You are in the room, yet not really in the room. You are at dinner, yet not really tasting the food. You are with someone you love, yet your eyes are glazed over, scanning some inner horizon for what is missing. This is the great mirage. The belief that fulfillment is somewhere outside, just one distraction away, when in truth it has always been here, waiting for your return. The irony is that the world does not demand this of you. The sun is not shouting for your attention, it shines regardless. The trees do not beg you to admire them, they simply stand, rooted in their own being. It is we who have trained ourselves to live in fragments, to fear the stillness of our own center. We have forgotten that every distraction, no matter how seductive, eventually dissolves into air, leaving us with nothing but the hollow ache of having missed what was truly ours to experience. But once you begin to see the mirage for what it is, the spell weakens. You notice how each distraction tries to pull you outward, and instead you pause, you breathe. You let your awareness return, not to the flickering images, but to the steady ground beneath your feet. Slowly the fog clears, and you remember that your attention is the most precious thing you possess. To waste it is to waste your life. To guard it, to bring it home to yourself, is to begin living again. The mirage will not vanish overnight. The marketplace will still be there. The voices will still call. But now you walk through it differently. Not as a beggar chasing after scraps, but as a sovereign being who knows that the treasure has never been out there. It has always been here, in the stillness at the center, waiting for you to come home. When you turn inward for the first time, it is as though you are stepping into a vast, uncharted silence. No music, no applause, no familiar noise to hold on to, only the raw presence of yourself. And at first, this can feel unbearable. Many run from it, seeking once more the comfort of chatter, of activity, of distraction. For solitude is not merely the absence of others, it is the revelation of your own company. And for many, this is a stranger they have never learned to meet. It is in solitude that the mirror of your being is unveiled. You look into it and see, without disguise, the things you have hidden behind roles, ambitions, and masks. It shows you not who you pretend to be, but who you are when no one is watching. And at first, you may recoil. You may think, this is too much. I do not wish to look at this. For the mirror of solitude reflects not only your beauty, but also your wounds, your longings, your forgotten fears. It holds nothing back. But here lies the secret. If you have the courage to remain, if you do not flee from the silence, something extraordinary begins to happen. Slowly, you notice that behind the noise of your thoughts, behind the judgments, and the restless flickering of memory, there is a deeper stillness, like the surface of a lake untouched by wind. In this stillness, you are no longer at war with yourself. You realize that you are not broken, not lacking, not waiting for some final piece to complete the puzzle. You are already whole, but you had forgotten. Alone, with no one left to impress, you begin to hear the music of your own being, the rhythm of your breath, the quiet beating of your heart, the way the light falls gently across your skin. These are not trivialities, they are revelations. You discover that solitude is not emptiness, but fullness. It is a space where life whispers in its purest form, unfiltered by the opinions or expectations of others. And what once felt frightening begins to feel nourishing. The mirror that seemed harsh now becomes tender. You see your flaws, yes, but you also see the innocence behind them, the child within you who has been longing simply to be acknowledged. You see your strength, not as something to prove, but as something that radiates naturally when you stop pretending. In solitude, you meet yourself as you are, and for the first time, perhaps you accept it. There is a profound liberation in realizing that you can be alone without being lonely. Loneliness is the hunger for someone else to fill you. Solitude is the recognition that you are already filled. Loneliness clings. Solitude releases. Loneliness looks outward with desperation. Solitude looks inward with peace. And when you learn to dwell in solitude, you no longer need to chase love or validation, for you carry within you the source of what you sought outside. This does not mean you retreat forever from the world. It means that when you return whole. You no longer enter relationships as a beggar, asking to be completed, but as a giver who shares from a cup that is already full. You no longer seek distraction to escape yourself, but choose company out of genuine joy. For having sat with yourself in silence, you are no longer afraid of being left alone, and in that freedom, love becomes possible, unclouded by fear. Solitude is not isolation, though the world may mistake it for such. It is communion with the very essence of your being. To stand before the mirror of solitude is to stand before eternity itself, to see that the light you have been searching for outside has been quietly burning within all along. And when you learn to gaze into that mirror without flinching, without fleeing, you awaken to a truth so simple, so profound, that it silences every restless pursuit. You are enough. You always were, and in your own company, you are home. There is a quiet kind of magic that most of us overlook, though it is with us every moment of our lives. It is not hidden in sacred books or locked within temples. It is resting gently in the way you choose to see. Attention is the alchemy of existence. Whatever you place it upon, no matter how small, begins to glow with life. A flower in the field is merely part of the scenery until you stop, kneel, and truly look. Then suddenly, it opens before you as a universe of color and fragrance. The miracle was always there. It is your attention that unlocked it. We imagine that power lies in great actions, in monumental gestures, in conquering the world. Yet the true power of a human being lies in the quiet movement of awareness. For attention is nourishment. It is the water and sunlight of consciousness. Where you direct it, things grow. Where you withdraw it, they wither. This is why a child blossoms when you give them your presence, and why they wither when you give them only your absence. It is why love deepens when attention lingers, and why it dies when attention drifts. But most of us do not realize how recklessly we spend this currency. We scatter it like confetti at a parade, giving it away to every screen, every passing thought, every shallow worry. And then we wonder why we feel so empty. For what you feed with attention becomes your life. If you constantly feed chaos, chaos becomes your home. If you constantly feed comparison, envy becomes your companion. But if you feed stillness, stillness grows within you. If you feed gratitude, gratitude colors your days. Think of the gardener. He does not waste his energy trying to water every field in the land. He tends to the soil beneath his feet. He places his attention on what is here, what is alive, and through that devotion, the garden flourishes. Your life, too, is a garden. Every thought, every feeling, every action is a seed. Attention is the rain that decides which seeds will bloom and which will wither away. If you do not choose consciously, weeds of fear, doubt, and distraction will grow on their own. But if you tend carefully, beauty emerges. And so attention is not passive. It is creative. When you place your awareness upon your own being, upon your breath, your body, your inner life, you are doing more than observing. You are cultivating. You are shaping yourself in ways unseen. This is the alchemy. Attention transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, the hidden into the revealed, the neglected into the cherished. There is also a deeper mystery. For as you practice returning your attention to yourself, you begin to notice that what you thought of as yourself is not so small after all. The breath you follow connects you to the wind outside. The beating of your heart echoes the rhythm of the ocean tides. The awareness you thought was yours alone begins to feel vast, borderless, like the sky holding clouds. In focusing inward, you find not isolation but expansion. This is why the saints and sages speak so much about presence. To be present is not a passive state of merely existing. It is the supreme act of attention. It is to say, here, now, this moment is worthy of my full gaze. And in that act, the mundane is transfigured. Washing dishes becomes a meditation. Walking becomes a prayer. Sitting in silence becomes a reunion with eternity. You hold this power at every moment. The world would like to sell you the illusion that your attention is worthless, that it can be traded away for noise and glitter. But your attention is sacred. It is the golden thread that weaves your reality. To guard it is to guard your very soul, and to direct it wisely is to awaken to the great treasure hidden in plain sight, that life, in its simplest form, is already radiant when you truly look. It is curious how easily we confuse caring for ourselves with selfishness. From childhood we are told that to focus on our own being is somehow indulgent. That virtue means pouring ourselves endlessly into others, even if it empties us completely. And so we learn to wear exhaustion like a badge of honor, to sacrifice without measure, to believe that love means neglecting the one person we can never escape, our own self. But this, you see, is one of the great illusions. For how can an empty cup pour water? How can a starving soul truly feed another? A tree does not apologize for drawing nourishment through its roots. It does not think, perhaps I am selfish for taking in this water, this light. It drinks deeply, for it knows that only by being full can it bear fruit. And when the fruit comes, the birds are fed, the animals are nourished, the earth itself is enriched. If the tree were to deny itself water in the name of generosity, it would wither, and nothing would remain to give. In the same way, when you focus on yourself, not out of vanity, but out of reverence, you are tending to the very source of what you will one day offer to the world. Yet the mind resists this. It whispers, if I take time for myself, others will suffer. If I place boundaries, I will be unkind. But look closely at this thought, and you will see it is not compassion, it is fear. Fear of disapproval, fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood. True love is not born of fear. It does not need to prove itself by depletion. It radiates most clearly when it flows from a place of fullness. And so, to care for yourself is not an act of selfishness, but of alignment with the deeper truth of life. When you sit in silence and nourish your own soul, you are not abandoning others. You are preparing yourself to meet them without resentment, without the hidden weight of expectation. For when you give from emptiness, you secretly crave something in return: recognition, gratitude, or even sacrifice from the other. But when you give from fullness, it is effortless, like sunlight spilling over the earth. Nothing is demanded, nothing is withheld. It is simply the natural overflow of a being who has remembered to drink deeply from the well of their own presence. This is why the mystics retreat to the mountains, why sages sit beneath trees, why poets wander alone in forests. Not because they hate the world, but because they wish to return to it with clarity, with abundance, with love untainted by need. Their solitude is not a turning away, but a tuning in, so that when they speak or act, it comes from a source that is inexhaustible. And you need not climb mountains to find this. It is as simple as turning inward, tending to your body, your breath, your inner life, and realizing that, in doing so, you are preparing yourself to serve life more fully. So do not be deceived by the illusion that self-care is selfishness. Self-neglect is not kindness. It is a slow forgetting of the sacredness that lives within you. The world does not benefit from your exhaustion. It benefits from your vitality. The people you love do not need your martyrdom. They need your authenticity, your joy, your wholeness. And all of that arises when you allow yourself to be nourished, to be rested, to be centered in your own being. In truth, there is no separation between caring for yourself and caring for the world. The two are one and the same, for you and the world are not two. When you honor yourself, you honor life itself. When you give yourself permission to flourish, you become like the tree that bears fruit without effort, feeding all who come near. So let go of the illusion. To focus on yourself is not selfish. It is the most generous act of all. And at last, as you turn inward again and again, something begins to shift, almost imperceptibly at first. You notice that the more you dwell in your own presence, the less you feel divided from the world around you. What once seemed like two, yourself and everything else, begins to soften. Like the meeting of river and sea, you can no longer tell where you end and the rest begins, for the boundary was only ever drawn in thought. The return to yourself is, paradoxically, the return to the whole. When you walk outside and feel the wind on your skin, it is no longer a foreign touch. It is your own breath moving across the vastness. The laughter of a child in the distance is no longer just their joy. It vibrates as your joy too, as if echoing from a hidden chamber of your heart. Even the sorrow you witness in another no longer seems separate, for you sense its roots in your own depths. Life reveals itself not as something happening to you, but as something happening through you, with you, as you. This is the strange and beautiful secret. By focusing on yourself, you dissolve the illusion of separateness. At first, it feels like a turning inward, a solitary act. But the deeper you go, the more you realize that the self you discover is not confined to the skin, nor to the name, nor to the fleeting story you have been telling. It is vast, boundless, like the sky. The self you return to is the self of all things. The same awareness looking out through a billion eyes, the same heartbeat pulsing through the veins of earth and ocean. And when this is seen, a great peace arises. You no longer need to strive so desperately to be someone, to defend yourself, to prove your worth. For what could be lacking in the whole? What could be unworthy in the totality of existence? You are not a fragment. You are not an accident. You are the universe expressing itself in the precise form of you. And when you rest in that recognition, even for a moment, the restless searching quiets, like a bird returning to its nest. In this wholeness, life becomes simple again. Eating a meal is not just consumption. It is communion. The earth nourishing itself through your body. Walking on the ground is not just motion, it is participation. The dance of gravity and breath, of sky and soil. Even the moments of stillness become radiant, for they are no longer empty pauses but living expressions of the eternal now. This return to wholeness is not something you achieve by force. You cannot chase it, for chasing only reinforces the illusion of distance. It comes naturally, like the way the tide returns to the shore, like the way the sun sets into the horizon. All that is asked is that you allow yourself to stop running from yourself, that you sit quietly in the temple of your being, and in time you will see that the temple was never yours alone. It was the whole cosmos looking back at itself. And so, my dear friend, you begin to understand why the journey inward was never selfish, why solitude was never isolation, why attention was never wasted. For every step you took into yourself was a step into the heart of existence itself. The lamp you lit within shines outward, and its glow does not stop at your skin. It spills into every corner of life, touching faces you will never see, nourishing seeds you will never know. This is the return to wholeness. To come home to yourself, only to find that you have come home to everything. To see that what you called self and what you called world were never truly separate, but two mirrors reflecting the same infinite light. And in that realization, the search ends, not because something was lost and found, but because it was never missing to begin with. You are already home. You always were. So, my dear friend, do not be afraid to turn your gaze inward, for it is not isolation, but integration. It is not selfishness, but love in its purest form. To focus on yourself is to light a lamp within the temple of your own being. And when that lamp is lit, the whole world is illuminated.